Welcome to Decades of Horror, the classic era.
There is only one reality, Rachel, and that is death. I bring you death, a living death.
This is episode 136, recorded October 9th, 2022.
Gruesome Magazine.
Hi, I'm your host, Jeff Mohr. On this podcast, we cover the good, the bad, and maybe even the ugly horror films released since the beginning of time through 1969. In each episode, we'll discuss the monsters, spirits, psychos, and villains that have haunted movie-going audiences since the dawn of film history.
I like the way you do that.
That was terrifying.
We're on.
This movie used to haunt my dreams. Now it's going to be you haunting my dreams.
Yes. Oh, wait. The Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel. Please check us out and check us out on our podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like. We also have Patreons where if you subscribe as Patreon members, you will get Decades of Horror like 10 days to 2 weeks early. And before everybody else, before it goes public. And also you can check into Horror News Radio live as it happens on Monday nights. So anyway, check that out. We also partner with Play Now Media on 3 of their channels, the Classic Sci-Fi Movie Channel, the Classic Horror Movie Channel, and the Wicked Horror TV Channel. Each of those carry the Decades of Horror Classic Era videos from our episodes, and those apps, you can get those on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, on online website, etc.
They're everywhere.
Etc.
You can't not see it. It's everywhere. Literally,
you can't throw a stick
everywhere.
without hitting one of these videos.
With me this week are my incredible co-hosts, and as you could probably tell, Whitney Coyazzo is not here again, and that's fine.
She's never here. When you invite me, she goes away. I think I'm taking it personally at this point.
Check your BO.
Whitney, I didn't tell him, Whitney. No, she's got some other opportunities, so good for her, and she should be back in not too long a time. But Chad Hunt, co-host on Decades of Horror, the All of Them, is here. Also a film producer and director with Wreak Havoc Productions, and I hear soundman and actor.
I do it all.
You were filming this weekend, right?
Yeah, I do it all. Everything. Writing, whatever they need me to do, I do it.
Is this a short or
not very well, but I do it.
Are you working on a short or a feature?
This is a feature.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's called Seer of Souls, and it's about a lot of Indian lore, old legends and stuff like that. So
cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Also with us is Daphne, who is awesome, stupendous, and likable as hell, as usual. How are you, Daphne?
I'm doing real good. It's great to see you guys as always. I'm looking forward to talking about the movie.
Daphne's very happy because the Mariners won the first round of the playoffs.
So did the Guardians.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one heck of a game. Okay, that's
That's all the baseball.
Yeah, it was like
also
15 innings or something.
Also with us
We
is
lost track. That was quick.
guest host Dave Dreher. I was going to do Doc's thing, but I just can't. It's Doc's thing. How you doing?
That's
Dave?
all Doc. I'm doing good. I'm sorry I held you guys up a little bit. I had a little bit of a snafu, and you guys all been waiting for me, so I appreciate it.
Hey,
No problem.
you're one of the OG Horror News Radio guys. So, okay.
It don't get me much, but it does get me guys sitting around for 15 minutes while I get here. So that's good.
Something.
The bill's in the mail today.
All right. Well, and Dave, we usually let our guest host pick the topic, and today's topic is The Return of Dracula from 1958. Ooh, the eyes.
Sorry. Clarified for a moment there.
Directed by Paul Landres, written by Pat Fielder. Cast includes Francis Lederer, Norma Eberhardt, Ray Strickland, John Wengraf, Virginia Vincent, Gage Clark, Jimmy Baird, and Greta Grandstedt. It was filmed in LA and a variety of places. We do have some cave action, which is in the ever popular Bronson Caves, I believe, at Griffith Park. Also, the Angelus Rosedale or Angelus, I don't know, Rosedale Cemetery, also in LA. And let's see, Brush Canyon and Palms Depot Heritage Square Museum in Montecito Heights. It was filmed in October 1957. And when it was released is sort of open to discussion. Apparently, IMDb says April 1958. Wikipedia says May 21st, 1958 in LA. So roundabouts there. Budget estimated to be $125,000. And the synopsis: after a vampire leaves his native Balkans, he murders a Czech artist, assumes his identity, and moves in with the dead man's American cousins. Very specific about the countries here.
Very much so.
Right.
Actually, sounds like a boring ass movie given the synopsis.
And this, yeah, really.
Yeah,
It
you could
sounds
say
like,
they lived happily ever after it.
Home with Mama or something. I remember Mama. Yeah, and this is the opening scene is him breathing, right? Or does he? The title flashes up there, and we get
Yeah. You just see you see the eyes and you hear the breath.
Okay, so we have a segment here, Dave, that we call Taglines with Chad, and now it's time for Taglines.
Hello.
Nice.
Hello.
I'm still not sure about this.
I'm glad to see you got that. I'm glad to see you got that can removed, though, Chad. That's good. 'Cause that wasn't a good look.
I just pushed it on the internet.
I was going to say it's just
There was nothing else in there to stop it.
so taglines, buddy. There's not a lot of them, and they're of our usual caliber.
Yeah, these I don't know about these. The first tagline is Dracula, the most terrifying name in the history of the world.
Especially when your grandpa says it.
Dracula. I love them Dracula movies. Okay. The most terrifying name in the history of the world, as mentioned in the first tagline, now gives you the most horrifying thrill in the history of motion pictures. And those are your taglines for the movie,
With
The
the
Return
most.
of Dracula.
With the most.
They
Thank
kind of picked a
you.
theme and just
Thank
ran with it,
you.
didn't they?
Very good.
Wow.
Wow.
Tremendously underwhelmed.
Tremendously what? Underwhelmed?
Underwhelmed, yeah.
Yeah. All right. You know that I tried to find other taglines, but all they had the most terrifying name in the history of the world and the most horrifying thrill in the history of motion pictures. They had
And then it
those
went from
split up
state to
plastered
state and then
everywhere. Yeah.
neighborhood to neighborhood. The most
Sometimes by
terrifying film in
themselves.
your neighborhood.
Sometimes together. Well, let's get to first impressions. And this was Dave's pick, and Dave told me about this a long time ago. I think maybe the first time he guested with us, he talked about this movie, and we couldn't find it streaming. But
Yeah,
this
I was
time
kind of
we did.
surprised it was streaming somewhere because I had a heck of a time finding it on DVD back when I was looking for it. So, yeah, Jeff had offered for me to come on, and I'd thrown a couple of titles at him, but this one was always high on the list because this is kind of the film that I would guess if I had to pick one, it's the first horror film I ever remember actually watching. My mother wanted to see it. It was probably 68, 69. So I'd have been like 8, 9 years old. And it was on TV. It was on one of our local horror hosts. But I can remember my mother, we were at my grandmother's house. I remember her saying she wanted to see it. that it was supposed to be so scary. She'd heard all these wonderful things about how scary and horrifying this movie was. And literally, this was back in the day of the old giant console TVs, the ones that had the stereo in one end, and so I sat my chubby little ass down in front of the television set, and this thing came on, and I was just mesmerized from the beginning because, like you mentioned, Jeff, like right at the start, it just starts off with this. It's like a silhouette of a man, but his eyes light up. It's like around him, and you just hear him breathing. And that was it. And it scared the shit out of me. I guess as probably what any 8-year-old boy in 1969, right? Yeah. And then this film is probably the keystone of what when I think of classic horror films and what I see, because a lot of the imagery in this is very like the Dracula sticking his hand out of the coffin and then lifting the lid up. That's what I see when I see that, and I remember that in my little Dave brain from way back then. I wanted to rewatch this before we did this because I do have it on DVD. And again, I got confused because I'm not the smartest bear in the woods, and I thought we were recording this next week. So I haven't. So actually, the comments I'm going to make are based on what I remember as a child, as opposed to watching it. Maybe it's a good thing because most of these films, when you go back and watch them as an adult, you're like, oh my God, why did I even like that? And so it might be a good thing because I still hold this film in very high regard because of the fact that it affected me so much when I was little. And because of this, that's why I went back and I watched Frankenstein and The Mummy and, all the others. So this was literally the film I cut my teeth on.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we finally found a streaming so we could do this. Daphne, how about you?
This is my first time seeing it. I hadn't even heard of it, so I was really excited to watch it. I'm glad that Dave chose it. And I thought it was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I love the ordinary folks and bizarre situation kind of feeling, and I loved the atmosphere of it. I loved all the scenes walking through the cemetery. It just made me really happy. It made me think of Night of the Living Dead, and it just kind of gave you that kind of spooky feeling. I thought that the characters were really good, and I thought the guy who played Dracula was really outstanding. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and I am really excited to talk with you guys about it for real. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it.
Absolutely.
Yes, there is some things to talk about here. So, or there are. Thank you, Chad, my friend.
Yes.
I think
sometimes.
Sometimes. Whenever I'm not doing taglines with Chad.
Depends on what you can do for me at the time. Just okay. I've never heard of this movie, and I've never seen it before, so this is my first time seeing it. And first impressions go, it's like, what if we dropped Dracula dead in the middle of a 1950s family sitcom? But that's downplaying a little bit. This really is a well-written film. It on the outside looking in, it looks like a little trashy throwaway Dracula movie, cheaply made or whatever. But this, I really, really enjoyed this. Francis Lederer, is that how you say his name? Lederer?
I don't know.
There's like too many E's and R's in his name.
Yeah, there's too many for me, my brain to. It's that Mountain Dew can. But he did a fantastic job in this movie. A lot of charisma, very magnetic personality, and just he stole the show in this. You really believed he was this evil, slimy villain, and he was, and it was interesting to see that dichotomy of that against this 1950s wholesome family backdrop type of thing. It was an interesting idea, and I feel like it was really well written. Some of the ideas that are in there, and So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with everything y'all are saying. I sought it out when Dave first told me about it, and I don't remember how I watched it, but I watched it somewhere. And then just now, and if you're not paying attention, you could feel like it's sort of lame. Nothing's really happening. This kind of goes back to, in a way, thinking back to the original Dracula, where we don't get any fangs, we don't get any on-screen bites, or there is some blood.
Yes, there is.
That's kind of interesting. But he definitely has he's got a continental flair to him, and he has an accent that kind of fits, and it's a natural accent. I think the family is great. I love the mother. She's totally, totally clueless. And the other character actors. This is one of those movies that's got some great character actors in it, which we'll also talk about. So yeah, was I scared? I don't think so. But Chad's right. The writing is great. I picked we pulled like a dozen quotes out of this, and they're not like the ones where we normally do, where they're just really stupid. These were really good writing. They were good quotes, So it was a good problem to have. All right, and I didn't mention these, but I find this kind of interesting. This was alternate titles. This was known as The Fantastic Disappearing Man in the UK.
I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it does. That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, and I don't even know who's disappearing.
The English.
Or
silly English.
TV title in the US was Curse of Dracula. In Mexico, they went after the disappearing man thing, El Hombre que Desapareció, and I probably screwed that up. But anyway, just to give you an idea of how other folks.
Whitney's face palming at home right now.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. So this is the most prevalent poster in I think the cover of the DVD or Blu-ray.
Look, another half-naked woman in trouble.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
least they got the face right a little bit. At least they got the face right a little bit on the woman.
Yeah.
I don't know the outfit, but the face
I don't
at
know
least is correct this time.
She's not wearing that anywhere in the movie.
No.
Not that you can see anyway.
No.
That's racy.
And the eyes are kind of crooked too. They're lined up with the font, but they're sort of crooked in the shadowy head. And there's that tagline.
Again, I love all the colors.
Yeah, I do too. I kind of like those colors.
It's got that old classic movie poster.
Yeah,
it does. I like to have one. I'd love to have one hanging on my wall.
Oh yeah, yeah. So here she is, still wearing the wrong clothes, but a different version of this.
The Francis Lurder in that picture kind of looks like Raymond Burr.
It does.
It reminds me of.
Could be from Rear Window, right?
Gentlemen, we can't stop Godzilla.
Or Godzilla.
Or Dracula.
But similar, lots of colors. And again, the most terrifying new thrill in the history of motion pictures. And the top one is just really...
The
Return of Dracula's assistant, Igor.
That's interesting.
He's trying to do a reach around of some kind. And it's
There's
I don't think you should have said that, Jeff.
There's a Bela Lugosi Dracula poster that's similar to this. I'm thinking they just tried to copy it to some fashion.
Probably. And then this bottom one is the old Super 8 packaging.
That's awesome. Isn't that cool, though? Wouldn't that be great knowing that? That would be so awesome knowing that.
All right.
I wonder if those ads in the back of the comics are still valid for Super 8.
I don't know. I'm still waiting on my X-ray glasses. So just moving on to the director right away, Paul Landres. He did these 3 movies like right in a row, and those, as best as I could tell, are his only genre movies. The Vampire. And we thought all the new stuff was in The Return of Dracula, but no, the new kind of killer is in The Vampire.
Stalking the screen. You have to boot.
Yeah, and it's no vampire. These are available on like Dailymotion or YouTube, and I believe they have the same writer as well.
I think so too.
So yeah, and this one is more of the vampire is more science fiction. Actually, I don't even know where they come up with this. Does that one? That one actually has 2 marks on their neck. But there's no makeup effects. There's just like 2 little magic marker marks on their neck.
2 little dots.
But he takes some kind of weird pill that makes him it destroys the cellular membrane. And he has
Hate it when that
very
happens.
scientific.
Why quit taking
blood.
Centrum?
Yes. So and when he doesn't get enough blood, he starts to look like that picture there.
Turns a little green around the gills.
Yeah, and then the flame barrier is this woman is looking for her husband took an expedition into, I thought it was South America at first, but later on they said something that made me think it was Africa. Oh, it was probably the chimpanzee they ran across in the jungle.
They have those in New York. You live in the sewers with the alligators.
Yeah. Somebody's got to keep the alligators in line. So anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but this woman goes and pays these guys to take her on this expedition to find her husband who's disappeared. And he's gone to find some spaceship that's crashed that he thinks everybody in NASA and everybody else has the location all wrong, and he knows where it is. And it turns out
there's a flame barrier.
Yeah, well, there's this thing is deep in this cave, and when it starts pulsing and whirring, if you go too close, you get zapped. There's a big burst of sparks and you disappear. And we don't spend any time trying to explain that.
People on the poster like, let's just come back tomorrow.
And that one starts, the first satellite that returned to Earth and the hell it brought with it. So, but this guy he's done tons of TV shows. I mean, if you look at his credits, he was an editor like pre-1950, and then he really moved into the TV shows, and I like everything you can think of. Starting with Cisco Kid, a whole bunch of those, and Sky King. Did you ever see Sky King, Dave?
Oh my God. I want to say I did see Sky King. Oh my God. I haven't heard that title forever.
It's one of those things that's like taking up space in my brain, and I have no idea why.
It's just there, huh?
I just saw that as a kid.
Jeff, what do you want for dinner? Sky Kings. Spaghetti.
Can we go to Sky Kings?
Sky King and his niece Penny, who flew in his Cessna, and the guy's name was Sky King. It wasn't that he was king of the sky.
Oh, okay.
His name was Sky King.
Wasn't there a movie later
Saturday
on
morning
Jude Law
Saturday
called
morning
Sky
show.
King
Well, what about the direction here, guys? Any thoughts on the direction?
I'm on mute.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's fine, Jeff.
Was it kind of the steampunk
Yeah.
movie you're talking about? Yeah. I don't
Giant
know what it was
robots.
called.
When they call Sky King in the World of Tomorrow.
Something
Oh my
like
God.
that.
No, it was something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Sky. Yeah.
The listeners are at home now going, "You stupid idiot!"
Do your research.
What fun would that be?
Well, I should just know that it has nothing to do with this movie we're watching now.
Noted.
Hi, Captain.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Sky Captain. That's it. You got it.
Made $58 million on a budget of $70 billion.
Let's talk about that one.
All right. So, how did Paul Landres do here? Anything in particular that sticks out, or that, or the writing? We could talk about the writing, whatever.
I really liked. Because of that one scene where there's blood. I don't know. Did he choose to do this in black and white, or? But I really liked the black and white and the use of black and white, especially like I said before, going through the graveyard and some of the times when Belak was talking to his victims and the different shadows and stuff in there. I thought that they really helped the atmosphere a lot, and so I appreciated those shots.
Did the one you guys watched, did it have red blood when they came in and staked the? That was a cool touch.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
But I don't remember that being there when I watched it on TV. So I don't know if it's something they added.
It's
at
like
some point, or if I just don't remember.
Yeah, it's like milliseconds long.
Yeah,
but it was. I remember the red blood.
They were driving the stake into pennies hard.
Yeah, I remember the scene, but I don't remember it being in color. But again, you're only going back 55 years or so.
Right,
so
right. Well, I was going to say it reminded me of the Tingler, but actually, I think the Tingler was 1959, so maybe the Tingler.
Or the tub from water in the tub was blood.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting to just throw that in there, But I liked that it was black and white. Again, do you know if? Was it a choice to do it in black and white? It was probably money or something, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it was in 58. I mean, how many like full color movies? Like of this budget in this budget realm, we're able to do full color. I mean, I don't know. I'm asking.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah. So
this is the same year that the Hammer Dracula came out.
Yeah. And I'm sure that took a big toll because that was Christopher Lee kind of pretty much owned Dracula from that point on.
Yeah, and the research that I did, that kind of was a reason why it didn't really it kind of was overshadowed by the Hammer Dracula.
Too many Draculas in the theater at the same time.
I thought he had a good eye for almost making Dracula look like he was part of the shadows. Whenever he coming down the stairs or I just remember certain scenes where all you could really see was his face, and the rest of him, he just melted with the shadows. I thought that was a good touch. And I really liked how the characters at the home were written, just innocent people. And that was very much of the time, with the sitcoms and stuff like that were on TV. So people are used to seeing these happy-go-lucky families, and the dad jokes and all that kind of stuff. And then you just drop Dracula right in the middle of that. It's a great idea, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I remember it as a child. So obviously the imagery that he put on the screen, stuck with me for all these years. So, I'm getting a big thumbs up for me. I may, now you guys have convinced me. I may just never rewatch it now because I want to remember it as a 10-year-old. No, I don't want to see it now as an adult.
Well, no, it's good. It's the writing is really good, but I think the staging, or the scene setups are really good. Like you said, having Dracula kind of pop up out of nowhere and having him shot just right and it all sort of makes sense.
I like I like how they established things too. They had the set where the scene where there's all the cars driving somewhere, it's car after car after car. Then you see them all stop. And then they all get out of the car and go to go to try and get Dracula before they find out that he's gone. I love that kind of establishing the Van Helsing character. And then it was a modern Van Helsing. And I really liked that. And I like how they kind of established the pit and the caves beforehand with the son, the young brother going to look for his cat Nugget. And so I liked that part too. I liked that all kind of is establishing that the danger, and you knew this guy was Helsing, and he was Van Helsing, and he was going to go for Dracula, and then you have the small town and all these things that would be coming back. I thought that was really good too. And I thought the pacing was I liked the pacing. It wasn't a lot of extra stuff in there.
Who needs characterization? But yeah, it told its story, and it told it very in an efficient way, and you really can't ask for more than that. I fell in love with the family. I just thought they were nice. It was he made you like them right away. So and that's saying something about how well they're written, because you started to really care for them early on. As soon as they got there, and to see them face this evil thing was a very, very I love that kind of conflict in movies. So.
Yeah, me too. And you were pointing out how it's kind of the stock story of the family sitcom type thing. It definitely was that, but he very quickly, like you said, fell in love with the family, or they established their characters pretty well, and they seemed very real. And you just kind of got to know them and care about them in the short period of time. And I was really struck with kind of how the outer appearance just looked like it was this simple thing, but you really get sucked into the story and the characters. I did anyway. Because they were really good actors too, and the story was good. There was a lot of really good things about this movie.
Yeah, so the family is this is cousin
Belloc
cousin Belloc Gordal, who actually isn't Belloc Gordal. He's killed Belloc, and he shows up to take his place. And that is his cousin, Cora,
his cousin,
played by Greta Granstedt, and she is the mother, I believe, of Rachel and Mickey, played by Norma Eberhardt and Jimmy Baird, with a stray T on the end of his name. Doesn't belong there. And then Ray Strickland is the boy next door, Tim, who has a relationship. Him and Rachel are kind of going together, and you see their relationship is kind of like a sitcom. They're joking around. And I love the part where he doesn't open the door for her. They're in a hurry to go somewhere. She gives him a look, and I love the relationship between Rachel and Mickey, her brother, because that seems like a realistic sibling relationship to me. They're always giving each other digs. Chad talked about Belloc's face. He could at once be have sort of a charming smile, but also have a glaring kind of look. I don't know.
Yeah, I think charismatic is a very good description of him. And his bones, I don't know if they did that with makeup too, that really made his, especially when he was at different angles and the light hit him a certain way, it really kind of had his bone structure on his face that was very kind of skeletal, and I really liked him a lot. I thought he did great. He was so creepy and so manipulative, and you could see him putting people under his trance and his power, and I liked that.
So did I. He made an evil. I mean, even though he was being nice, and you didn't know, you still knew he was evil. He still had that air about him that he's just, he's just not good news.
Well,
he did awesome in this. I thought he played a great Dracula.
We have those scenes where he's got Rachel or her friend Penny sort of under his control, and like one of them, Rachel's just walking off the path into the woods, and her boyfriend Tim shows up and goes, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" She's sort of like, don't really know.
Right.
You know?
I know as we got to see him more, I was kind of disappointed that more people don't know about him playing this role, because I thought he did a great, so many, there's so many different people playing this part, and I thought he did a really good job.
I'm surprised I've never heard of this movie.
I believe, didn't he play, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the king of all this trivia, but I just recall this for some reason, that he reprised this role for Twilight Zone or
Night Gallery.
Night Gallery?
Night
Yeah,
Gallery,
Night Gallery.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
towards the end of
I
his
was
career,
good.
like in the early 70s.
I was going to look that up, but I think I didn't see it right away. But I know I've seen that, and I haven't. It hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
And I can't
Again,
remember.
in my thirst for attempting to find this film, as I was trying to, again, we're going back probably 10 years ago, but somebody had told me that he actually played the Count again late in his career for. It was one of the Rod Serling ones. It must have been been Night Gallery.
Night Gallery, The Devil Is Not Mocked, and that's actually his last credit in IMDb.
Yeah. He had to be
did
getting up there at that point, because he was making movies back in the early 30s, wasn't he?
So by 71, he was 72 years old. That's when.
Yeah. Well, back in 71, 72 was old.
Well, I think
Not old anymore, but
yeah, no, he did some silent films.
Yeah, he was. I didn't know this when I was watching it. I didn't recognize him, but he played in one of my favorite movies, Pandora's Box, with Louise Brooks. It's a silent movie by Pabst, and he plays the son of the man that Louise Brooks is the mistress of. And I remember that I haven't seen it for a while, but I remember that he had a very, very good performance. It was very sad. He loved her, and they were friends, and in this horrible life that they had. And but he was really good in that. So I was really excited to see that connection. So yeah, he's been around for a long time.
so he'd have been in his 50s when he played this role? Yeah, 50s, early 60s.
1899 to almost 60.
Yeah.
50, 57, 58, something like that.
Yeah. He's very suave looking.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he does that whole I don't know how people do it, where he holds his top coat, hangs on his shoulders, and looks like it's supposed to be that way,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved that, because I was like, that's his cape. He's got his suit, and then he has this cape that just made me feel like it was a costume nod to Dracula. I like that.
I was just reading about the blood that was red. That is a 3-foot section of color film that was manually spliced into the black and white prints. So there might be versions out there that don't have that.
But it might even have been back in the day. Again, you got to remember, I was watching this on TV in the late 60s. It might have been considered too gratuitous to have red blood on TV at that time. So
yeah.
So
then again, it could just be early stage dementia. I don't remember. So that possibility as well.
Irving Thalberg had plans to make Francis Lederer the biggest star in Hollywood, quote unquote. But Thalberg died, and nobody else picked up on it. His plans, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, he wow. It's just interesting to see and he ended up teaching acting later on quite a bit. And I thought I saw something about people that he had taught, but I don't see that now.
When did he pass away?
2000.
That guy had a good long life. Holy crap.
He did. 101. 101.
Wow.
Not quite 100, I guess, based on his birthday.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's what I'm shooting for.
All right.
This says he was still teaching the week before he died.
Oh man.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, very suave and debonair character that does very well at playing the two sides of the I'm smiling, charming, putting you at ease. But like when the one Department of Immigration officer says, "Oh no, he didn't catch on what I was doing," but you see that look he gives him as he's walking away. You know he did catch on. Right?
Yeah. Well,
this is one of the things I thought was really cool.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know.
That's imagery I'm talking about. See, that's imagine looking at that at 8 years old.
Yeah,
you're shitting yourself.
Often filled with smoke or vapor or whatever the heck it was.
Really cool.
So this Dracula legend was kind of different, right? He seemed to be able to move through walls or windows or under doors or out of coffins as vapor, which kind of reminds me of Son of Dracula.
Yeah.
Right. We don't ever see a bat, but we do see I don't know if you want to call it a wolf or a dog, that white dog that attacked the one guy. And that looked, I don't know how
that was
shot
awesome.
that, but that looked very well done.
That was awesome. Yeah. I thought that there were some scenes that I thought were pretty kind of edgy, like that scene with the dog that was so violent, and that's another thing where it was like the white dog and the black and white and at night kind of thing, and he was just vicious. And then sometimes the way that Balak spoke to Rachel, it was very I guess a little sexual. Like he could definitely was bringing that aspect in it. Maybe was like using his charisma to kind of get her under his spell. But it just felt like it was very kind of more a little bit more intense than I would expect it to have seen in a movie like this.
Let's see. There's Rachel, and he tried like heck to get that necklace off her. And unfortunately, she took it off of Jenny.
Well, Jenny gave it to her. Didn't Jenny give it to her? Or did she drop it?
Well, first she took it off.
Put it on the stand, right? Nightstand.
Maybe she gave it to her after he came to visit her and before she died. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
I thought this actress was really good too. I liked her a lot.
She plays a pretty big range. I mean, part of the time she's joking with her brother, or, giving him a hard time, or mad at her boyfriend or whatever. But then in these parts, like in these shots, she's really scared. And then when she's being manipulated by Dracula, she does a great job of looking like she's just sort of foggy. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. I thought so too, because that could have been really like over the top, but I felt like hers was really believable. Like she really was kind of coming out of a fog or kind of a dream, the way she was reacting. I thought I agree. She did really good. I love the scene where she pulls the cross necklace from her neck, both just kind of like how she just pulls it, but how it kind of pulls on her skin too. And you kind of see it dragging along as she pulls it. I thought that was really a nice scene.
She and here she is, her friend Penny. I almost missed it at first. They described her as her blind friend. I didn't realize it at first.
I didn't realize she was blind, or I didn't hear that part. But this is a new thing added to the vampire lore: is if you lay a cross on a vampire, they can't move.
Yeah,
they're paralyzed. Yep, there they are.
She was playing that real good, though. I thought I believed it. She couldn't move.
I thought we were going to see fangs there in that scene.
There's some great scenes here. I mean, that scene where so this is Jenny, and without feeling too stupid, Jenny Virginia Vincent is she's the first one that he takes, right? And they think her death was crazy. She jumps up and freaks out about how the door, you have to shut the window. He's here. He's here. I know he's here. And then just collapses dead. So we have the funeral. We put her in the vault, which is a lot easier to get out of than being buried. Made sense, right? And yeah, so then when they go, they go to prove it, and that she's a vampire, and they lay that cross on her to keep her from getting out of the coffin. And you can see he's right there. I think the stake is right there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right. Just a little bit over there.
Right there in the corner. Yeah.
That was a big stake. That was a That was a professional stake. That was a serious stake.
Like
Well,
a
if you're going
shard
to
of
stake it from
from
the
a
heart, you
meteor.
might as well make it a big one, right?
Yeah. Let's gonna do this, so let's go for it.
Strawberry pudding.
Yeah,
That was the
red.
part
That's-
where I yelled out at the screen, because then they're sitting there like, "Oh, let me pray first." I'm like, "Don't you dare close your eyes right now to pray. Kill her."
I'm
Idiots.
I'm wondering, that to me that kind of looks like hammer blood. I'm wondering
Yeah,
if
It's pretty.
that is
if
hammer.
they
bad.
did they didn't see some
Glow
hammer
stick.
stuff and
Glow
oh
stick
crap, we
fluid.
got to stick some red blood in there, So
We've got 3 seconds. Make it as red as you can.
Yeah. Go beyond red. Whatever the next shade of red. Go beyond.
well, these I mentioned character actors. I wanted to bring these guys up, but first off, the you mentioned earlier, Daphne, John Wengraf is our Van Helsing, only his name is Meyerman. And he's the guy in the first scene where they go to kill Dracula and he's not in his coffin. And he escapes onto the railroad and does this.
How does he do that?
Belloc Gordon gets on the train and all he sees
Yeah,
is
that's
Dracula's
hard to do.
hiding behind the
Yeah.
newspaper.
He looks truly terrified, though.
To get his fingers to curl around like that.
I think we're losing Jeff. He's going down for the count.
Me.
Dry
Nothing worse
throat.
than, I was going to say, nothing worse than dry throat when you're trying to talk.
Yeah.
Chad wishes it was dry all the time.
It's true.
He's not denying it.
No, I can't deny.
Yeah, he's behind the newspaper, and then all of a sudden the other guy freaks out. We still haven't seen what he looks like. We don't see him until he gets off the train, I don't think.
I love the way they made his shoulder so wide,
Yeah.
extra wide right there to make him look
Yep.
more imposing.
All right, back to the character Gage Clark, who we discussed in another movie. Do you remember? It's been like a year and a half.
Bad Seed? Was it Bad Seed?
Yes.
It
Yes.
was. Okay.
He was
But
the
he must have
the
been
uncle
other
that was
stuff, too.
visiting or something,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, these guys, I pull these guys out just because I think they're the guys that nobody can remember their name, but they've been in like 200 or 300
Mm.
movies.
I liked
didn't
him
live.
in this. I liked him in his character because I liked the scenes where they're usually like religious people, or they're something else where they're being told basically what you believe in is true. Like there really is this Dracula, and they kind of are surprised that that this is real, that they have to fight him. I always like scenes like that.
Yeah.
So he kind of wants to believe John Wengraf's character, but no, we just buried her alive. She's not really
He's got that
a
great
vampire.
I love that part where he's trying to explain to Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to tell you, now we're not sure yet, so don't get worked up. We're just not sure. It may not be right. It might not be. It's a possibility.
But don't leave.
But yeah, whatever you do, don't leave. You just, Meyerman should have filled him in on the whole vampire controlling your will thing. So Gage Clark doesn't have a ton of credits. He's got like 62 credits, but I swear, a couple episodes of Mr. Ed, 12 episodes of Gunsmoke, 4 Alfred Hitchcock, 7 Mavericks, a lot of repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always pretty good. And then Charles Tannen was the Department of Immigration investigator.
He looks like his name should be Charles Buck Tannen. Tonight at 8.
Kind of does.
He does, doesn't he?
You're absolutely right.
I'm almost positive right now he's saying, damn right. That's that face.
Yeah, that's just the face he's making.
Damn right.
He's got 241 credits.
Wow.
Got himself busy.
Busy guy.
Those Buck Tannen movies.
Multiple episodes of stuff. Yeah. The Monster That Challenged the World, which was, I believe, also written by Pat Fielder. Kind of skipped over her, but I think it's important to say here was a woman writing these films back then that did well. Everybody knows The Monster That Challenged the World, I think. So that's Tannen. And the guy in the bottom, William Fawcett, was the train depot manager or something. And he's another guy that I seen. He usually plays old grizzled prospector types in westerns kind of thing. But he has 296 credits. Yeah. 9 episodes of Virginia, 9 episodes of Gunsmoke, 6 episodes of Bonanza. It just goes down the list.
15 episodes of Conductor, the series.
Do you know what that was in, Chad? That picture?
Superman.
Batman and Robin, the cereal.
I knew it was a cereal. I couldn't.
Whatever that thing does, it made his eyes bug. Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter.
There's a classic.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to do that?
I know. He was the pharmacist too, so I don't know what that means.
I think it means he's into playing all these little old men type characters.
Yeah. So anyway, he didn't have a huge part, but when I see him, I just go, there he is again. There he is. Who is that guy?
There's that guy.
It's me, William Fawcett.
So John Wengraf was kind of a Continental guy too, right?
Yeah.
He's our Van Helsing, as you said.
Right. Yeah, he was great. I really like the kind of modern twist that they put on him too.
He looks
Again,
like
working
he
for
smokes really thin cigarettes.
Yes, to go with his mustache.
Yeah.
He was in GOG.
What?
Watch your mouth.
GOG.
We don't say that word in here.
That weird space robot thing from the early 50s. Another guy that was in lots of 100 and some credits, lots of TV shows. Most people, it seems like they kind of worked their way through movies as best they could till around 1950, and then they just gave up and went with the TV show stuff and a few bit parts of movies. Yeah. Anyway, he was cool too. I thought it was a good cast considering $125,000.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wanted to talk a little bit about the music. Any comments about the music?
Yeah. When I was reading about him, my gosh, what's his name? Gerald Fried?
Yes.
Nearly 300 films, TV episodes, and TV specials. He did Roots. Well, he collaborated with Quincy Jones for Roots, Star Trek, Gilligan's Island, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I saw that too.
The 60s one. For
So
The Killing.
tons of stuff.
Apparently, he was
mhm.
childhood friends with Stanley Kubrick.
Right.
And the Killing is that I think it's a racetrack robbery one with Sterling Hayden and some other.
I think he did a
That's a good
couple
movie.
of Kubrick's earlier movies.
So the music in this one, I looked this guy up because as I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, wow, this is really pounding, aggressive, rhythmic music,
Yeah.
Loud.
repetitious.
hmm
It's a what? So did you get what they were talking about, Daphne? That parts of this were taken from this poem that you were talking about?
Oh, with the Dies Irae, I think is how you
Uh-huh.
pronounce it. Well, I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's something that's been in movies, often used in movies, and it's based on a piece of religious writing, and then different people and musicians. It's also been made into a song. It's been a chant. It's been a song. You can hear it a lot. You can see stuff on YouTube performances of it. But it is talking about the Day of Judgment, and it's kind of creepy and scary and spiritually disturbing, stuff. Like I saw that it was in The Shining, but I don't remember. I couldn't tell you exactly which. I cannot necessarily identify it right off the top of my head, but it's supposed to be in lots of
I think it was
lots
in
of
the
movies.
beginning scene of The Shining when they're driving.
Mm,
I think they played it. I think they played it there, and a couple other times. I think maybe.
Yeah, I think it was in one of the versions of Sweeney Todd, and it was supposed to be in the car, and I'm sure that there's others too, but it's kind of long. But I wanted to read it to you guys because it's just kind of creepy, and it's kind of cool for me to read when I was reading this. Kind of something that's inspired other people in horror movies, and that just kind of something that people find creepy, and you can kind of see the origin of it a little bit. So I'll do my best reading it, but it's Day of wrath and doom impending, David's word with Sibyl's blending, heaven and earth in ashes ending. Oh, what fear man's bosom rendeth, when from heaven the judge descendeth, on whose sentence all dependeth. Wondrous sound the trumpet flingeth, through earth's sepulchres it ringeth, all before the throne it bringeth. Death is struck and nature quaking, all creation is awaking, to its judge and answer making. Lo, the book exactly worded, wherein all hath been recorded, thence shall judgment be awarded. When the judge his seat attaineth, and each hidden deed arraigneth, nothing unavenged remaineth. What shall I, frail man, be pleading, who for me be interceding, when the just are mercy needing? King of majesty tremendous, who dost free salvation send us, fount of pity, then befriend us. Think, kind Jesu, my salvation, cause thy wondrous incarnation, leave me not to reprobation. Faint and weary, thou hast sought me, on the cross of suffering brought me. Shall such grace be vainly brought me? Righteous judge, for sin's pollution, grant thy gift of absolution, ere the day of retribution. Guilty now, I pour my moaning, all my shame with anguish owning. Spare, O God, thy suppliant groaning. Through the sinful woman shriven, through the dying thief forgiven, thou to me a hope hast given. Worthless are my prayers and sighing, yet, good Lord, in grace complying, rescue me from fires undying. With thy sheep a place provide me, from the goals afar divide me, to thy right hand do thou guide me. When the wicked are confounded, doomed to flames of woe unbounded, call me with thy saints surrounded. Lo, I kneel with heart submission, see like ashes my contrition, help me in my last condition. All that days of tears and mourning, from the dust of earth returning, man for judgment must prepare him. Spare, O God, in mercy spare him. Lord, all pitying, Jesus blessed, grant them thine eternal rest. Amen. So a little creepy.
That was nice.
Yes.
Nice read.
Well,
Thank you.
and as you're saying that, I'm reminded of Belloc or Dracula has that line, or a couple lines when he's talking to Rachel about, I don't remember exactly what he says, but it's sort of like, I am your Lord and I will resurrect you. You know, you will be resurrected in my, it really does seem like a counterpart. Or
You're right. Like, I will be giving you new life. You'll get life through me, or something like that. Yeah, you're right. That's right.
And that whole scene where he brought her back, Jenny, back to life, and she was having trouble, and he told her it hurts at first to breathe when you've been. That was a cool
Yeah,
scene.
It was.
I like that too.
It was.
There was so much good writing. And can we talk about Pat Felder?
Absolutely.
Okay. You said she was she's one of the early, one of the first female screenwriters. And so she wrote this and some of the other movies that Jeff mentioned. She said it was influenced by Dracula, by Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's where she got the two friends, Jenny and Rachel. And also, she was also inspired by Shadow of a Doubt, with the kind of ordinary American family and the stuff that they have to deal with. And she said, I thought it was interesting because she said that they used the fact that she was a woman and she was just out of college as part of the publicity for the movie. But she was recently divorced and lived alone. And so she asked the LA reporters not to report that she lived by herself because she was worried about creeps knowing that. And they published that. And so she ended up having creeps call her and had to end up get her phone, the number unlisted. But yeah. So but it was really cool. She's a really great writer. She even I was really taken by the writing. I didn't know, anything about the writer, what gender the writer was or anything, but I just felt like the women were portrayed very real in this. And so it was really cool to see that it was actually written by a woman, and she had a really good way with human care, with good characters or humans and strong characters. And I like how she had this character who was still innocent, but also mature. She had a boyfriend, and she, was pretty open physically with him when you saw scenes with them, but still very kind of naive and good. And I don't know, I just thought I thought she did a great job with it. And it was really exciting to find out that, she was an early screenwriter, had this chance and wrote several screenplays.
That's pretty cool. And she did an excellent job on this movie. Very well written.
So too.
Yeah, and she was very active up through like 1981. In which case she would have been like 52 or something. I don't know what she did at that point. Did a bunch of it's like we're just repeating things, and all these people were prevalent in 7 episodes of Beretta, a couple episodes of Macmillan and Wife,
Oh, good.
couple of Policewoman.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a bunch of other ones, a bunch of The Rifleman, 7
Mhm.
episodes of The Rifleman. So, and she was nominated for 3 different awards, won an Emmy and a couple Writers Guild awards. So,
Cool.
I think, I do. I feel like it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I didn't think of that either. When I first watched this, I was not thinking this was a woman writer, Pat Fielder.
Yep.
And later I saw that it was. And so I paid a little more attention. And I think she definitely had a feel for that family dynamic. And so, Oakley Dokley. Anybody have any closing comments here?
Yeah, Dave, go watch it.
Have to watch it. Again, 10-year-old
Yes.
Dave's not going to remember the music and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
it was all complete, just complete imagery for me that my little brain remembered. So yeah, so it's great to hear that the three of you enjoyed it as much as you did. Maybe I was onto something way back there in the late 60s. So I will now go revisit it with no fear of ruining my childhood.
Well, that's why we like the classic era so much, because for the most part, there's not the explicit violence. There's a lot of atmosphere and a lot of characters and a lot of visual work, with shadows and things like that. That's really cool. I noticed a couple things in the writing.
Not that there's anything wrong with explicit violence.
No.
Right.
Or gore.
Or gore.
Okay. Has anybody seen Terrifier 2 besides me? Anyway, there was a couple scenes in the writing too. I noticed there were several scenes where I felt like important information was just about to get relayed, and then the character would get interrupted. Somebody like her brother would come in off say, "Come on, well, mom says it's time for dinner," or so and so says. Anyway, so
it's a great film. If you're a fan of vampire films and Dracula, this isn't your normal Dracula, but as far as vampire films go, this is a really good one.
And I was going to ask Dave, does he remember the camera lighter?
That was cool.
The camera lighter. No.
The immigration agent has a camera in his cigarette lighter. So he takes a picture of Belak while he's lighting a cigarette. And then when they finally do the picture, then of course Belak does not appear on the film. So and there's a scene in terms of vampire tropes. There's a scene where Belak's not visible in the mirror to Rachel. Right? So there was some standard stuff there. Okay, well, I think that might be it for this one. Anything anybody wants to say that they didn't get to say?
See it.
Yeah.
Viva la Vampire.
Check it out.
It's on, Dave says see it.
Right now it's on Daily Motion, and there's actually a Blu-ray available from Olive Films.
Olive Films.
They don't usually have any extras or anything. I haven't checked it out, but anyway. We do have one piece of feedback from Jerry. Chad, you want to take Jerry's feedback? Or...
Oh God, look at how long it is.
It's not that long.
It's Jerry
on Matango. Jerry Chandler.
Hello, Jerry. This is
Hello, Newman.
This is an interesting one. I saw it when I was really young on some UHF station in my area. May have been something like the Bowman's Bodies show. I remember liking it then, and the one or two times I saw it not too long after that. It was a crazy looking film, and there was something that appealed to me about the isolated setting and the threat to the characters lurking out there somewhere.
It was mushroom people, Jerry. That's what appealed to you. I know you, Jerry.
Yeah. Then I never saw it listed on TV again for years. Finally caught it again when I was in my mid to late teens. Found it kind of boring and dumb. Might have been another decade or so before seeing it again. Wasn't my choice. It was the first of 2 films showing at a weird horror double feature at a venue some friends and I went to when I lived in Florida. I loved it, but I loved it in a completely different way than I did when I was much younger and saw things in it I missed in my teens. There are aspects of it that strike a similar chord to the horror of Invasion of the Body Snatchers and then shift into body horror. There's the terror of people familiar to you becoming something utterly unfamiliar and different, and the terror of your own body becoming something you can't control and don't recognize. And I think we talked about that a little bit, how there's themes in here that are much more mature than the titles in the movie led on to be. And it basically ends on the keep watching the skies type of horror. The knowledge that it's out there and that it's coming. Over the years, decades, I feel so damn old in it. I feel so old, damn it. I see new things in some of it here and there. It's a surprisingly evergreen horror film in many ways. I just wish it was better known and more popular. Yeah, I agree with that. It might not deserve to be called one of the absolute greatest, but it does deserve more love from horror fandom than it gets. I agree.
Yeah.
We're with you, Jerry. Dave, what did you think of Attack of the Mushroom People?
Oh my God, another one that I haven't seen like forever and a day. Good Lord. I don't know. I'm gonna have to revisit that one. I mean, a lot of those older films I have literally not seen for 30 years.
Well, it's pretty fresh. We just did it with Dirk Rogers guested with us, the special effects guy that works for KMB that's been listening to you guys for years and years. And this was something I forgot to even bring up was this. So one of those things that always catches me is that, that line from the Invasion of the Body Snatchers where I'd hate if I woke up and you weren't you or I wasn't me or something like that. That's that is in this. That's that, when you're taken over by the spores and you're no longer you. That's just, or somebody that you love is no longer who you thought they were.
Or you just don't know. You just don't know.
Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate it. I think that's it. Grue Believers, that's it for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1920 and 1969. Next up, I remember, chosen by Dick Clemenson, the owner, publisher, editor, do-it-all of Little Shop of Horrors, the Journal of British Horror Films. He chose The Brides of Dracula from 1960 from Hammer. And right now we plan to have a second co-guest host, a second guest host or a co-guest host. I don't know. Alistair Hughes, who's had frequently has illustrations in Little Shop of Horrors. So that should be fun. We're looking forward to that. Dick is taking some time out while he's publishing his new book, which is Bitches and Banshees. The British
sounds like
films
my biography.
I'm not going there. I'm just not.
Take it how you will.
All right. Catch us again. So be sure to come for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the classic era, as only decades of horror can do it. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks,
sorry
Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
And,
appreciate
you coming in. And we'll the other movie you've mentioned is Fiend Without a Face, so we may have to do that.
Fiend Without a Face, yes, another one. I lived my childhood years in fear of invisible brain sucking neck grabbers.
I could understand that. I mean, geez, who wouldn't?
We're so much alike,
I
Dave.
mean, there was a I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but it's like on a naval base. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but it takes place like on this abandoned naval base. And here in Canton, where I live, there was I don't know if it was like a French tenement or something. I don't know. It was in not a great area of town, but we would drive by it frequently on our way to the mall. And I had convinced myself that that's where they shot that movie because it looked just like it. The way they're, I'm like, God, that's where they shot that movie. So my entire childhood, I thought for sure that those Fiend Without a Face things were
Oh my
around there.
gosh.
I still think of that
Screaming
today
at
when I
his
drive by.
parents.
Don't stop! Don't stop!
Go faster! They're invincible! You can't see them!
Well, you definitely got to do that movie.
I love that stuff.
So
Criterion
thanks,
has a
everyone.
great disc of that one out, by the way.
Yes.
Criterion.
Without a Face.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Who
cool.
does? Criterion? Yeah.
Criterion,
Is that
yeah.
what you said? Yeah.
Nice.
yeah.
Yep.
Catch us again. I already said that. So say goodnight, folks.
Good night.
Good night,
folks.
Gruesome Magazine.